Welcome to the channel where pocket change can turn into pure gold. Today, we're diving into 3 ordinary-looking quarters that might just be worth a fortune. We're talking thousands, even millions. And guess what? One of them might already be in your house. These coins hide stories, rare errors, mysterious misprints, and hidden design twists that connect straight to US history. You won't need to be a collector or a millionaire to own one. Just a little curiosity and maybe a coin jar nearby. So check your drawers, your glove box, even that old can in the garage, because by the end of this video, you'll be scrambling to see if you've been sitting on a jackpot all along. Take a closer look at this coin. Looks like a regular quarter, right? Think again. This one hides a secret that could change everything. Let's get started. In 1992, the United States Mint was operating under routine precision. The Washington quarter, an icon of American coinage since 1932, continued its long-standing presence in circulation. The obverse displayed George Washington's profile, originally designed by John Flanagan, while the reverse still bore the heraldic eagle until the 1999 State Quarter Series would change everything. Minting that year occurred at Philadelphia and Denver, generating hundreds of millions of quarters. In the sea of identical pieces, few noticed anything out of the ordinary. But hidden within the repetition lay a deviation so subtle it would evade detection for years, only to resurface as one of the most intriguing modern numismatic stories. Among the earliest whispers of this anomaly came from a modest collector named Angela Wicks from Arizona. She had no formal training in coin grading or authentication but nurtured a quiet passion for coins passed down from her grandfather. Her joy came not from appraisals but from slowly examining each coin's design, texture, and detail. In 2015, while sorting through a set of circulated quarters picked up at a weekend yard sale, Angela noticed something peculiar about a 1992 Washington quarter. It looked cleaner than the others. Not polished, but somehow more refined in detail. The rim felt sharper. But what truly caught her eye was the spacing between the design and the edge, the rim-to-device margin. Compared to its peers, it seemed narrower. As she scrutinized the word Liberty, the letters appeared dangerously close to the edge, almost squeezed. Driven by curiosity, Angela began researching online, trying to find known varieties. She stumbled upon a term she hadn't seen before, close AM, typically associated with Lincoln cents. Still, the principle stuck with her. She posted images in an online numismatics forum. Most users dismissed her find as post-mint damage or wear. But one seasoned error expert messaged her privately, intrigued. He suggested she mail the coin to a third-party grading service. Weeks later, the results came back. 1992 Washington quarter struck with a proof reverse die. The term sparked excitement among error collectors. How could a reverse die, intended only for proof coins minted in San Francisco, have been used in a Philadelphia-struck circulation coin? The answer remains speculative. During transitions between design types and die replacements, it's plausible that a proof reverse die was mistakenly installed at the Philadelphia Mint. That die had crisper edges, more defined feather lines on the eagle, and tighter spacing between the edge and devices. Proof dies, meant for limited-run collector coins, were never intended to strike general circulation pieces. But somehow, this one did, and it did so quietly. As word spread about Angela's coin, interest soared. Collectors began reviewing their 1,992 quarters with magnifiers, focusing not on dramatic errors like off-center strikes but minute, intricate differences in rim spacing and feather relief. Over time, a few more examples were identified, though the total count remained exceptionally low. Prices began modestly. The first certified example fetched just over $300 in a private sale. But subsequent discoveries in higher grades, those in mint state condition, sparked competitive bidding. Within 2 years, a mint state 64 example sold at auction for $2,800. Later, an MS-66 crossed the $5,000 threshold. By 2020, graded examples were considered major highlights in error coin auctions. The true suspense came in 2021, when a coin collector in Maryland purchased an entire hoard of unsearched quarter rolls from a retired vending machine operator. After weeks of careful sorting, he uncovered a pristine 1992 quarter with the proof reverse characteristics. But this one exhibited something more. Unlike the others, this piece had a second error layered into its mystery. On close examination, the coin's edge showed partial reading, a telltale sign of a misaligned collar during striking. This hybrid error, combining a proof die reverse with a mechanical strike misalignment, was utterly unique. No known examples shared both characteristics. Authentication took months. Specialists debated whether the collar slip was consequential enough to affect valuation. But once confirmed, the coin entered the registry as a dual-error specimen, the only one of its kind publicly documented. The eventual auction drew international attention. Bidding was feverish. By the time the hammer fell, the final price stunned even seasoned collectors, $17,250. That twist reinvigorated interest in the 1992 Washington Quarter Series. Collectors returned to their albums and rolls, searching for the telltale signs of the proof reverse, sharp feathers, tighter lettering, and edge alignment. Yet despite the surge of interest, the number of authenticated specimens remained remarkably low. This wasn't a widespread error. It was a singular lapse, likely lasting only hours or days at most. The coin's understated nature contributed to its allure. Unlike errors that immediately scream rarity, this one whispered it. Only those familiar with the subtleties of die mechanics and design transitions could detect it. It required patience, knowledge, and attention to minute detail. The reward for that diligence was the possibility of uncovering something truly extraordinary. Angela Wicks, whose discovery ignited the frenzy, received widespread recognition. Her coin, still in her possession, remains the first certified example of the 1992 P quarter with a proof reverse. Though she declined to sell it, experts have estimated its current value between $6,500 and $8,200, depending on market trends and buyer demand. Other examples, especially those in uncirculated condition, continue to rise in value as awareness grows and remaining specimens dwindle. In the world of coin collecting, the most valuable finds aren't always flashy. Sometimes, it's a near-invisible variance in the curvature of a letter, or the alignment of a bird's wing, that transforms pocket change into treasure. The 1992 Washington Quarter with a proof reverse stands as proof that even in an era of mechanized perfection, human oversight leaves room for magic. And for those with sharp eyes and unwavering patience, that magic may still be waiting in the quiet rattle of spare change. In 1981, the United States Mint continued its routine production of the Washington Quarter, a coin that had been in circulation for nearly 5 decades. Designed by John Flanagan, the quarter's obverse still proudly featured the stoic profile of George Washington, while the reverse displayed the classic eagle with wings spread, symbolizing national strength. By this time, the mint's processes were refined, efficient, and largely reliable, with millions of coins struck across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But despite the technological advances and the quality control measures in place, errors still slipped through, errors so subtle and rare that they could remain undetected for decades. The 1981 Washington Quarter was not minted with any known dramatic variations or commemorative features. Its copper-nickel clad composition, introduced in 1965, was standard fare, and its design mirrored those of preceding years. Collectors of the time were focused on older rarities or more celebrated mistakes. But hidden within this vast production run, a rare anomaly emerged that would only come to light when a collector with a keen eye noticed something slightly off. Marcus Doyle, a seasoned coin enthusiast from Arizona, had an unusual habit of combing through rolls of quarters from local banks. He had been doing it for years, not seeking fortune but driven by a fascination with error coins. For him, it wasn't about financial gain, it was the detective work, the patience, and the potential for a quiet thrill when something peculiar appeared among the ordinary. In the spring of 2016, Marcus picked up a box of circulated quarters from a rural bank branch. Among the well-worn pieces, one 1981 quarter stood out. Under ordinary light, it seemed unremarkable, but when tilted at an angle, something odd caught his attention. The details on Washington's face looked slightly blurred, almost ghost-like. The word "Liberty" had a shadowed outline, and the date seemed to have been struck twice. He examined it with his loupe. The doubling was faint but consistent. The profile lines of Washington's hair and cheekbone were replicated just enough to catch the eye. He checked the reverse. The eagle's left wing displayed a minor, but noticeable doubling, and the feathers on the tail appeared layered, as if struck more than once. This wasn't damage or wear. This was a double die error. His hands trembled slightly. Marcus knew the difference between machine doubling and a true doubled die. The telltale signs were all present: strong, rounded doubling in key areas, uniform directionality, and no flattening that would suggest mechanical issues. But the biggest question remained: was this a known variety? He began researching. None of the major numismatic databases listed a 1981 doubled die quarter. A few speculative mentions in online forums suggested isolated sightings, but nothing concrete. Marcus submitted the coin to a grading service. Weeks later, the result confirmed what he suspected: a previously undocumented doubled die obverse and reverse on a 1981 Washington quarter. The buzz in the error coin community was immediate. Photos circulated, and collectors began scouring their collections. A few more examples surfaced, mostly from the Denver Mint, all sharing the same traits. The die markers matched, confirming a single die pair was responsible. The estimate was grimly low: perhaps fewer than 20 coins had survived with this specific error. Most had likely gone unnoticed or been lost to circulation. Initially, the market response was cautious. Error coins can fluctuate wildly, especially when new varieties are discovered. Early sales fetched $300 to $500, but as more experts confirmed the authenticity and rarity of the error, prices began to climb. An uncirculated piece, still gleaming with mint luster, broke the $2,000 mark at an auction held in 2018. By 2021, high-grade examples were commanding prices that shocked even seasoned dealers. Then came the twist no one expected. In late 2022, a collector from the Pacific Northwest sent a supposedly similar 1981 quarter for analysis. But this coin, although showing the same doubling traits, also weighed slightly more than standard. Not enough to cause alarm, but enough to trigger curiosity. A metallurgical test revealed that the coin had been struck on a planchet intended for a foreign currency, a 6.25-gram copper zinc alloy blank meant for a cancelled overseas contract. The implications were stunning. Somehow, during the 1981 production run, a blank of incorrect composition had entered the minting process and received the rare double die strike. A double anomaly. Coin experts dubbed it the hybrid error. Only one such piece has been authenticated to date. Its uniqueness instantly catapulted it to legendary status. The discovery invigorated the community. Enthusiasts dug deeper into their hoards of 1981 quarters. Coin roll hunters revisited previously dismissed pieces. Blogs and podcasts dissected every known detail of the error. The hybrid example sold privately for a rumored 5-figure sum, though the exact price remains unconfirmed. Meanwhile, the standard 1981 double die quarter continued to climb in both recognition and value. Grading services added it to their official registries, and coin shows featured it as a case study in overlooked modern errors. Lower-grade examples settled into the $600 to $1,200 range, depending on clarity and condition. Mint state coins breached $3,500 in peak market moments. The doubling on the obverse is now studied for its subtle yet definitive displacement. The ghostly echo of "Liberty" has become iconic in the error community, and the shadowed numerals of the date remain a highlight for those inspecting raw coinage. On the reverse, the doubled eagle's wings are so finely layered that collectors often describe them as having a phantom lift, a poetic nod to the visual effect. But what makes the 1981 double die quarter truly fascinating is its subtlety. Unlike glaring errors that are easy to spot, this coin whispers its uniqueness. It doesn't demand attention, it rewards it. Only those willing to look closely, to question the ordinary, will uncover its secrets. For Marcus Doyle, that one moment of curiosity in 2016 changed everything. His name now appears in collector circles as the first to identify this rare variety. He still remembers the thrill, not of potential profit, but of discovery, of finding something no one else had seen in a coin so many had overlooked. His original coin, now graded MS-63, remains with him, a personal milestone and a testament to the enduring mystery hidden in plain sight. The 1981 Washington quarter double die, especially with its rare hybrid counterpart, serves as a reminder that even in a sea of billions, anomalies survive. They lie in wait, nestled among the mundane, daring someone with patience and passion to find them. In 1974, the United States Mint pressed on with its long-standing tradition of producing the Washington quarter, a coin that had become a fixture in American pockets since its introduction in 1932. Crafted from a copper-nickel-clad composition, it was struck in vast quantities at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The familiar visage of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, remained on the obverse, while the heraldic eagle held dominion over the reverse. For most, the 1974 quarter seemed like just another iteration in an unbroken line of production, indistinguishable from its neighbors. Yet, within that sea of uniformity, a hidden inconsistency lay dormant, waiting for discovery. For decades, the coin circulated without notice, slipping through hands, vending machines, and drawers without drawing attention. That would change in 2010 when a coin collector named Darrell Klein, a quiet but meticulous hobbyist from North Carolina, stumbled upon a peculiar quarter while browsing through a roll purchased from a rural bank. Darrell had always been interested in minting oddities, not the dramatic blunders, but the subtle ones that eluded even trained eyes. As he rolled the coins under a loupe, one 1974 quarter stopped him. The rim seemed slightly off. At first glance, the coin appeared worn, but something about the lettering made him pause. The word "Liberty" was ever so slightly doubled. Not in a sloppy, mechanical way, but with distinct, raised outlines shadowing the primary letters. "In God We Trust" bore similar doubling, particularly on the letters G and D. The date, 1974, revealed ghost-like images of a second impression. Excitement building, Darrell flipped the coin over. The eagle's wings and tail feathers also displayed faint outlines, as if a second strike had nearly, but not completely, overlapped the first. Darrell had seen machine doubling before, and this was different. This was sharper, more deliberate. A true double die, he thought, something created during the die manufacturing process, not from mechanical shifting. He reached out to a grading service for confirmation. Weeks passed, his anticipation mounting. When the results arrived, the verdict was clear: double die obverse and double die reverse. It was, by every metric, a rare error. The revelation created ripples among numismatists. Although not as pronounced as the legendary 1955 double die cent, the 1974 quarter's doubling was undeniable under magnification. Other collectors, inspired by Darrell's find, began combing through their own 1974 quarters. A handful of similar examples surfaced, each bearing the same telltale signs: doubling in "Liberty," the motto, the date, and feather details on the reverse. Error specialists began piecing together the production anomaly. It appeared a single die pair had caused the mistake, possibly used for only a short period before being retired. The likely origin was Philadelphia, as most confirmed errors bore no mint mark. Initially, the value was modest. Circulated examples sold for around $100 to $200, but mint state specimens quickly jumped in price. One MS-63 rated coin fetched over $1,100 at a private auction in 2013. As the number of known examples remained low, demand began to climb. By 2018, an MS-65 example reached nearly $2,500, drawing headlines in collector forums and bidding houses alike. The appeal was twofold: it was a modern-era coin, accessible to most, but with a scarcity and error significance typically reserved for older rarities. But the most unexpected twist emerged in 2021 when a numismatist from Oregon named Lydia Tran purchased a sealed 1974 mint set from a vintage estate collection. Within it was a 1974 quarter bearing not only the double die characteristics but something even more astonishing. The coin had a smooth edge, lacking the customary reeded design. Analysis showed it had been struck on a blank intended for a foreign coin, a planchet typically used for Mexican 5-peso pieces of the era, slightly different in metal content and weight. The hybrid nature of the error, a double die quarter on an incorrect planchet, sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Experts at multiple grading services validated its authenticity. The mint had, somehow, used a foreign blank in a batch that included a faulty die pair, compounding the rarity. This singular coin went to auction in early 2022. The final bid? $14,750. A record for any 1974 Washington quarter. The discovery reignited the hunt. Collectors revisited forgotten rolls, re-examined old finds, and scoured mint sets. Still, the number of verified 1974 double die quarters remained low, and only one known specimen bore both the double die and wrong planchet error. The value of standard double die examples continued to climb, with circulated versions reaching $500 or more and mint state coins commanding several thousand depending on grade. What made the error so captivating was its invisibility to the casual observer. Unlike broad strikes or missing clads, this quarter asked for patience, for scrutiny. It rewarded those who understood nuance and recognized deviation hidden beneath normalcy. Its rise in value mirrored the journey of all great discoveries, overlooked at first, then celebrated by those who knew where to look. Today, the 1974 Washington quarter double die stands among the most elusive and intriguing modern errors. Its story remains unfinished, as collectors continue to seek out new examples and speculate on how many might still be hidden in plain sight. And in that mystery lies its power, a reminder that even in something as routine as loose change, the rarest treasures can still whisper through history, waiting for the right eyes to see them.